Welcome to this month's newsletter overview, a podcast that brings you stories of transformation and prayer from around the world through the work of every home for Christ. Today, we're taking you into one of the most remote, and until recently, one of the most violent regions of the world, the highlands of Papua New Guinea. But this isn't a story about violence. It's a story about hope, about reconciliation, and about what happens when people just like you and me say yes to God. Let's start with what most people know about Papua New Guinea. In January 2024, news broke around the world. Protests, riots, and chaos in the capital, Port Moresby. At least 22 people lost their lives after security officers protested wage cuts. Looting, arson, and destruction followed. The government declared a state of emergency. That's the Papua New Guinea many saw. But there's another side. A quieter revolution was already taking place. And it's not the kind you'll see in headlines. In the mountainous heartland, where tribal conflict has shaped generations, something radical is happening. Enemies are becoming brothers. Guns are being laid down. Entire villages are turning to Jesus. How? Because teams from every home for Christ refused to be intimidated by danger. They took the gospel into these hard places, literally driving through hostile territory in a white Toyota Land Cruiser outfitted with giant speakers, broadcasting the good news of Jesus Christ. And what happened? Villagers came running, not to fight, but to listen, to ask questions, to weep, to forgive. One local leader said, "These are the people bringing the good news to us." And in some places, the results have been dramatic. Piles of guns have been surrendered. Once feuding tribes now worship side by side, and entire families are walking in the peace they never thought possible. But this story doesn't stop in Papua New Guinea. It stretches across continents, from Africa to Southeast Asia to Latin America and beyond. In Benin, West Africa, another story is being written. 15 years ago, Diane Studer went on a mission trip to Ethiopia. She thought she was just going to serve, but in a quiet time of prayer, God gave her a vision, a literal one, a map of Africa on fire with the gospel, shoes being given to children, feet being washed in love, and the name of Jesus being proclaimed. That vision became Souls for Jesus, a ministry that now partners with every home for Christ to distribute over 96,000 pairs of shoes every year, with the gospel message included in every gift. Since 2018, more than 170,000 pairs have been given in Benin alone. But here's what makes Diane's story so powerful. She didn't say yes because of the need for shoes, though that need was real. She said yes because of a call, because God asked her to bring His love to people in a practical, tangible way. And that's really the heartbeat of every home for Christ. Saying yes. From Tanner and Bethany Peak, who've stepped into global leadership roles, to believers in creative access nations risking everything to share their faith. This ministry is built on thousands of yeses to God's call. Prayer is the engine behind all of this. Millions of hours have been spent interceding for the lost. And the results? Over 201 million people have responded to a gospel message from every home for Christ. That's not a statistic. That's souls. That's eternity. This month, we're praying for nations like Cambodia, Armenia, and Nigeria. We're lifting up persecuted believers in Central Asia. And we're praying for peace in war-torn areas like Gaza. And maybe we're praying for you, because maybe you've been feeling like your walk with Jesus has been too safe, too quiet, too boring. Let me leave you with what Diane said after she finally said yes. I got so sick of making excuses. One night after Bible study, I said to God, "As long as I know it's you, I'm going to start saying yes." And she did, and lives were changed. So, what's your yes? Maybe it's praying, maybe it's giving, maybe it's going, maybe it's forgiving. Whatever it is, know that the same God who brought peace to the highlands of Papua New Guinea is inviting you to be part of His plan to reach the ends of the earth. Thank you for listening to Hope to the Ends of the Earth. Subscribe, share this episode, and most of all, keep praying, because prayer changes everything. Until next time, I'm your host, reminding you, the gospel is going out, home by home, heart by heart. And it starts with yes. Thanks for listening to this month's episode. To support EHC, you can make a donation at everyhome.org.au/donate.